Do you live in an uncomfortable house that was built post 2011? If you do, you are not the only one, and the solution I'm going to recommend, it might surprise you. So with today's energy code, your home should be comfortable all year round. But for some, the reality is quite different. And what I've seen is that it's not really an issue due to a lack of effort on the builder's part. It's more due to a lack of knowledge. So I'm going to walk you through a real case today, what I discovered, and why the insulation flaw can cause a comfort problem. I really hope that I can help you avoid what this homeowner has been going through. It's been 8 years of the wrong solutions, nickel and dime fees, advice that was all over the place. In some cases, it was contradictory, according to him. The builder was saying one thing, the HVAC people, you get it. So this couple bought the house in 2017. It was pretty much everything that they wanted. It was near a nice lake, modern design. It even had a 2-car garage on the first floor. But the first clue that there was a problem was when the seasons changed to hot and humid. He noticed a moisture spot on the first floor bathroom ceiling. So by year 3 of going through it, the problem finally stopped when the HVAC crew installed a damper to the supply duct that basically cut off cold air to that part of the house. During the wintertime, his office, also on the first floor, was unusually cold no matter what they did to try to fix it. He was literally this close to pulling the trigger on getting a mini split, which nearly gave me a heart attack, I told him, because if I can get my 1983 townhouse comfortable on each floor, there's really no reason why his house couldn't get there too. But what the problem was for him is that there was no North Star. There was no guiding light. Nobody could explain it. None of the people in the trades that he was having out could figure out the problem. As a homeowner myself, I understand why. If you aren't thinking with a little bit of building scientist mentality, then comfort issues can easily be overlooked. So in this particular case, there was a garage on the first floor, and next to it was a raised platform with stairs leading up and over. So underneath that platform was a small hidden crawl space with an identity crisis, basically. Is it part of the garage? Is it part of the house? The answer is, at this time, the way it was like both. The half door that you see is an illusion. It gives a false sense of security. So think of air inside of your home like a body of water. Air flows freely through all of the spaces. To harness a body of water, you need to set up a proper dam. So the same thing with airflow. You have to set up an airtight barrier if you don't want air to flow between the inside and the outside. So when you categorize the garage correctly as the outside, because there's no air conditioning, then things are going to start to make more sense. You already know the difference between an exterior and an interior door. My first clue that this may be the problem is this little door. Since the door is not insulated and sealed, I would expect to see insulation in the crawl space, and when I pop my head, nothing. I think we're gonna solve this issue. Like I said, the homeowner was ready to install a mini split system just to survive the winter in his office, but what he really ended up needing was less than $1,000 worth of spray foam insulation just to get everything sealed up. I've done over 2,000 energy audits across Maryland, and what I've come to learn in that time is that details really do matter when it comes to creating a comfortable home. And it's not that the builders aren't trying to do the right thing, because they are. What seems to happen, though, is that they have to rely on others, subcontractors, code checklists, visual cues. That means that they may see foam sprayed in one place and assume the job is done. Meanwhile, the critical insulation boundary is incomplete. Even inspectors can miss it, especially when they confuse old school thinking with modern techniques. And HVAC contractors, they are excellent at airflow inside the ducts, but not always at understanding where the conditioned air ends up. In this case, this unique feature in the design of the home created a tricky path for the insulation, and by having the wrong door and absolutely no insulation in the area, it was like leaving a window open 24/7. And garages, they can be tricky when you don't have a feature like this because they have the garage door, they're usually finished, and sometimes builders, they even put insulation in there, and it really throws homeowners off. So if you're dealing with something like this and you live in a newer house, you're not crazy. And the experts you're calling out are probably just not trained to understand how to fix the problem. You likely have a very specific air leakage or insulation flaw, and until you identify what it is, you're going to keep spinning your wheels. You're going to meet resistance from tradesmen, a house needs to breathe, and you might just have to keep living with this frustrating situation. So, what else can you do? I highly recommend that you get a home energy audit. And it may seem counterintuitive. You live in a brand new house, it's supposed to be energy efficient, and you're right. And that's exactly why you definitely know you have a problem if you're having a comfort issue. Energy auditors, how can they help? They're trained to identify energy issues. Make sure to ask if they're certified through BPI, the Building Performance Institute, and make sure they're going to do a blower door test for you. A proper energy audit is going to test and check the entire boundary or shell of your house. You also need to ask the builder if you can, did the house initially get a blower door test? Did it pass? How much insulation do you have in the different parts of your house? And how does that compare to your region's code? And can you see photos of the insulation before the drywall was installed? Even better, educate yourself. Start with some resources from the Department of Energy or look up your state's insulation code. And when it comes time to solve the issue, you're going to know whether somebody's giving you a guess or a real fix. So be sure to subscribe to my channel. I've got other examples of issues like this one, old, new houses. I'd love to also hear any experience that you've had in the video comment section. Maybe I can help you solve your problem too. So what I'd like to try to do is answer just a few questions that I get from homeowners whenever I go out to see them and they have problems like this, which is often. I've done over 2,000 energy audits, so I see the same types of things over and over. Now, it's not every time, but certainly enough to have some idea of what people are asking. So the first thing that people like to ask me is they have a brand new HVAC system. Why do they have hot and cold spots in their new house? And that goes back to just understanding that in 2000, a post 2012 world, the way the code is written, then a house should be properly sealed and properly insulated, and the house should have good indoor air quality based on calculations and the way that air is being moved throughout the house. And a lot of times there are mistakes. And why is that happening? Because the builder isn't 100% aware of all of the things that need to be done, and the subcontractor is trying real hard and they're making it look like some of the things are done. So you see the pink and orange foam everywhere and insulation. So that's why when the inspector, who is probably still trying to get caught up on how all this stuff works, him or herself, they see these triggers, then boop, they check the box yes, and everybody goes about their business. Meanwhile, everything gets closed up, the house is all sealed up with drywall, everything's finished, everything becomes invisible, and then down the road the family moves in or the people move in, and then that's when the problem shows itself. So it's usually just a combination of reasons, and an energy audit will take a look at the house and evaluate the shell and find, those deficiencies, find the reasons why, whether it's using thermal imaging or actual investigating the areas like an attic or a crawl space or areas like you saw in this video under the stairs. It could even be in the basement at the top of the foundation wall. So there are several things that could be leading to that type of a problem. What if the builder says everything is up to code, but the house still feels uncomfortable for you? Again, that's going to be really just a lack of knowledge. And the best way to go about dealing with something like that is to educate yourself. And if you go and you educate yourself on what exactly the code is, then you can ask the builder more specific questions, and they should be able to answer those questions. And if they have photographs of the area, they should have video. Nowadays, there's really no reason not to. So you should be able to see what's going on. And most importantly, this is the kicker, you should be able to get a copy of the blower door test, because every house post 2012 should be going through a blower door test and should be passed by somebody who knows what they're doing to say, hey, this house is as tight as it needs to be. And I believe that the code is equal to or less than 3 air changes per hour, no matter what size. Can a home energy audit really find issues that HVAC techs and builders missed? If this video hasn't been proof of that, I've got several others, including one that I tagged in this video somewhere in there, where I helped a homeowner using thermal imaging figure out a problem that he had been battling year after year. And this was a really nice house. It had these nice sloped ceilings, and it was a tough situation to figure out. But there are things that just get right by these builders. So yes, an energy auditor with some miles under their belt. So they've got to have logged some time out in the field. But yes, if they have spent some time out in the field doing these things, then by all means, yeah, an energy audit should be able to help you figure out, with the use of diagnostics and knowledge, to figure out what's going on, get to the root of your problem. Is it normal for a newer home to have insulation and air sealing problems? I don't think that's the norm. Honestly, I think that these builders are trying to do the best they can, and I do think that a lot of houses are much tighter than they used to be, and I'm not seeing that these problems are happening all the time. However, I will say that a lot of these newer houses, some of these bigger houses, do have 2 zones or 2 different HVAC units, which is going to offset some of the deficiencies. And it's usually in the houses that are custom, or they have some unique feature. For example, this garage, how it had the platform stairs that kind of raised up and created a little storage space underneath. And that might not be a normal. You might have a slab and you might just have a walkway out to a hallway that leads to the back of the house. But they built this up, they put a little space under there, so it's a little bit different than the norm, which created a pathway that needed to be followed for the insulation team. And as you saw in the video, they threw some caulk up there and tossed a space heater in and called it a day. Not to knock them or anything, but these are the kinds of things that can cause problems in newer houses.